Boop, boop. Okay, so I know some of you know me or know Chef Sissy, Chef Jessica. Costing class week 5. So we're going to kind of go over some problems, going to introduce to you. I'm sure you're already introduced, but the equations we're working with this week, and then we're going to go through just some practice problems as well. Feel free, since there's only a few of us, if you have any questions, stop me, raise your hand, unmute yourself, whatever have you. We are here to help you make sure you guys get it. That is the goal. So we're kind of getting to the end of your class too. So anything you are struggling with, feel free to jump on in. We do have this class next week as well, kind of like a recap of the whole course. So we will be doing that. Chef Sissy's giving me a face like, no, we don't, but I think we do.
We do.
Okay.
Well, we do. Yeah, I don't know. We have.
I was planning it, so I'll be here next week.
I think their class ends next week, Chef Jessica.
It does. It's the week 6. Does it have to be in by Sunday then?
Yes, 11.
That's what I thought. Okay, the time might change, but I feel like we're going to do a recap week, so just be prepared for that. But anyway, kind of diving into the inventory, total costs, total purchases, stuff you're dealing with this week. And I totally want to point this out. I know I told you guys this a few weeks back. All of this stuff, I totally need to plug my computer in before it dies on me. Oh, there we go. Okay. So all this stuff, all of these equations that we're covering this week, a lot of it's stuff you've already seen. It's just bigger numbers, and it's just the whole week in general. But it's all the same equations that we've already kind of covered, just bigger. So don't let the bigger numbers scare you. Just know it's more that you have to put into your calculator. But a lot of it's the same principles, same concepts. So our first, what is our total food cost? So instead of finding the food cost for like one dish or one recipe, now we're talking for the whole restaurant for the whole week or the whole month or the whole day. So on a larger scale, I believe most of them go by the week, but you really could do it daily, weekly, monthly, depending on your establishment and how much you go through. I mean, yeah, it's different. I've done it weekly and I've done it monthly, depending on the location I've worked. So that's kind of more typical. But essentially, and I really love this color coding here. If you are a visual person, this color coding is fantastic. You have your beginning inventory plus all of your purchases, everything you spent on all of your food throughout the week, minus your ending inventory equals your total food cost. So what this is asking is, how much did you start with? How much did you spend throughout the week? You subtract how much you have left because you haven't used it yet. You haven't sold it yet. No one's bought it. No one's spent money on it. You still have it to use. So you subtract that ending inventory. And this gets you how much you spent on the food that you sold. Not just how much you spent on food, but how much was sold to your customers, to your guests throughout. So adding up all your purchases in the purple. So kind of walking through this question, we start the week with $284 of food. That's your beginning. That's how much is like in your pantry, in your cupboard, in your walk-in, whatever you're looking at. That's how much you have. During the week, I buy $294 of meat, $692 of dairy, $852 of produce. At the end of the week, we have $385 left of food. So what this is telling us, we started with 284. So that's our beginning. You add everything you bought together, which equals all your purchases. So if you add the 294 plus your 692 plus your 852, you get 1,838. That is all your purchases. So you would add in your beginning inventory. So, all right. So you start with your 284. You add in your 1,838, which is all your purchases. and then you subtract whatever you have left. So whatever you got left in there is the 385. And this basically is telling you you spent $1,737 on food that week that you sold. How does everyone feel with this?
I'm sorry, I caught the middle of it. I was trying to get situated so I can have everything I needed for class.
Okay, gotcha. We'll get you there. And it's really good to have all these equations written down. I mean, if you don't already, highly recommend doing that. You can reference them. Why not?
Yeah, I'm writing it down right now.
Definitely. I will just leave it on here for a second then while I know some of you are writing this
That's-
down.
Hey, Chef Jessica.
Yes, please.
One is these formulas are at the top of their quizzes
Oh, they are
for this
for
week.
this
Yep.
week? Oh, cool. We'll even refer back to that then. I like having it written down. For whatever reason, writing things down makes you remember them better. It works for me. It's a proven thing. It might not work for everyone, but it is proven. You write it down, you say it, you read it, you got all the sensory things going, and you're more likely to remember it. So again, this is how we get our total food costs. So your beginning inventory, adding in all your purchases, subtracting that ending inventory, equals how much food you basically spent that went out that you served, like how much you sold. I guess it's not that sale price, but how much you sold in food. So kind of moving on. Are we good on this? Writing it down? Joy, you're still writing?
I can't see the formula.
Yes, please. Hold on one second. Give me 2 minutes. I should be done.
Okay. No worries there. And we'll do some practice problems too, some kind of examples that you will see kind of structured the same way. Again, I say this every week. I'm going to say it again because it's so repetitive and it makes sense. Read the question, read it like 8 times, break it down. They're giving you a lot of information. There's a lot of words on these problems. Some of the information you need, some of it you don't. Break down and see, what is this question asking of me? What is it that they are looking for? Like in this question here, it tells us our sales for the week were 4,518. You don't even need to know your sales for your food cost. You do for your food cost percentage, but not for your food cost. So they do give you a lot of information. Some you use, some you don't. Just always make sure you're reading it, double checking your work. A lot of times the question in itself will tell you what it's looking for. So just slow down. I'm going to say this every week. Second kind of equation you guys are working with this week is how much did you spend on something? Or how much more did you spend on this than this? Also, this one's pretty simple. This is just honestly straight subtraction. It's basically asking you, what is the difference between how much you spent on this item versus this item? So doing that math, you just literally take what they are giving you, like if working through our example, we start the week with $284 of food. During the week, we buy $294 of meat, $692 of dairy, $852 of produce. At the end of the week, we have $385 of food left. Sales for the week were $4,518. That's a lot of information. In reality, the question is only asking you, how much more did we spend on produce than dairy? So a lot of this information you don't need. So if you're reading that question, you're breaking it down, how much more did we spend on produce than dairy? You find your produce price. So our produce right here, $852 of produce. So that would be your first number minus your dairy. Basically, how much did you spend on dairy? $692. So you take that 852 and you subtract it. Whoa, I had things in my calculator on that one.
$160 more?
That sounds right. Let's check your math. Well, it's right there. You are right. Exactly. So it's basically asking you, how much more did you spend on produce than dairy? In this example, you spent $160 more on produce that week than you did on dairy. That one's pretty simple. Is everyone good with that equation for now? I forgot to turn off those notifications. Sorry.
That's
So,
okay. Just me answering Chef Aaron.
yeah, definitely. So again, your food cost, wait, we just did this one. That's the same equation. Just looks different. Anyway, moving on. How much did you spend on food? Again, this is all your purchases. So looking back at this master formula we were going through, all purchases were in purple. That's all this equation is totaling up everything you spent money on for your food. So everything you bought throughout the week is a purchase. You spent money on it, and it can be worded different. Like, what is the sum of everything you bought? What is the sum of the purchases? How much did you spend on food? There's different ways to word it, but essentially it's just addition. You are adding up everything you spent and totaling up how much you spent on food. How much money was out the door in food that week or that day or month. You still have your beginning inventory, how much is in your pantry. You still have your ending inventory, how much is left at the end, because you still didn't spend that, and that's where you get into your total food cost. But this is just asking you to total up your purchases. Going with our same example problem, again, these are very wordy. You're going to see a bunch of info you don't need. So one thing
How
I
did
really,
I come up with 1,828? I missed $10 somewhere.
I was going to say that seems like just a
Let me
number error, like in the calculator, which is
maybe.
actually a great point because it's a really good
That's a-
idea to like
That's a
double check your
big
work.
thing though.
Yeah, I would do the math twice. I
Because
mean,
if I did not double check it, then it would be like 2 plus
I would definitely double check your math.
852.
It's an error in the.
I am getting 1,828.
So did I.
I think that's an error there.
It's an error in the slide.
Because I got 284, 692,
682.
852. Yeah, 1,828 instead of
Oh.
1,838.
That's an error in the slide. There it is. Good catch. Yeah, I'm like, I had two different numbers. So yeah, you have your 294. You add in your 682. 852. Oh, that's still an error. We're going to change it. Your math is right though. Got the right equation.
So I came up with.
Okay, cool.
Well, if it came off of my worksheet, Chef Jessica, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm really good about transposing numbers. So
Yeah.
you can throw me under the bus. It's okay.
Some of them I find as I'm doing it, and then some of them it's like, oh, I've done this one 5 times and now we're just catching this here. But that's okay. So essentially, it sounds like you guys all understand the concept, which is half the battle. So yeah, basically you're adding up all those sums, everything you bought, getting that total purchase amount. Your last equation this week,
So,
again,
Chef,
you guys have seen this equation. What's up, Erica?
just quick question. So what we did with this one was we added. It says the start week was we started with 3,524. That's what we started with.
That's your beginning inventory.
That's our beginning. So it says our total food cost, which means what we bought in food, just foods.
Wrong. So your total food cost, you take your beginning inventory, you add in your purchases,
Oh,
What
okay.
you said was the purchases or how much you spent on food. You still have your beginning inventory, how much you started with.
So we got to add that into when we do all our purchases.
Right. You add in all
And
your
then subtract.
purchases and then you subtract your ending inventory because that food is still in your pantry. You're going to use it next week. It didn't go anywhere.
Okay.
And then that gets you your total food cost. So how much you spent on food that you served that was out of the door, out of your kitchen, you sold it. And then that equals your total food cost, which you need to be able to get your total food cost percentage. So once you figure out your total food cost, beginning inventory plus all purchases minus your ending inventory, then you take that number and you divide it by your total sales. So your total sales for the week is how much you charged your customers for the food you bought, for the food you spent, basically. And so this, you will end up with a decimal. That decimal, as you all are well aware by now, I hope, to get a percentage, you multiply by 100, or you can move that decimal 2 spots over to the right, whichever works in your brain, do that one. And this is basically asking you, what is the percentage of our food that we spent of how much we made? What percent did we spend on food? Now you will end up doing this as well for like your labor or your other costs as we've kind of worked on. And then your ending, whatever's left over after you spent all your money on all your stuff, that's your profit or your revenue. And so your food cost percentage is just a piece of that puzzle of how much you spent on food that week that was served out of your total sales. So again, you guys have done this. I can show you, I think it was week 3. You were doing your food cost percentage, but it was just like for a specific dish or like the salmon or the steak platter, whatever. It's the exact same equation, just bigger numbers. So now you're talking in the thousands, maybe hundreds, but usually thousands to get
Yeah.
that food cost percentage. Exact same problem though.
Chef, I'm
So-
sorry for interrupting you. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I
No,
want
you're
you to
good.
go back when you said beginning inventory plus ending inventory, and what was the subtract the what? Because I forgot it.
This one. So
Gotcha.
your beginning inventory plus all your purchases, so everything you bought throughout the week, minus your ending inventory. This gets your total food cost. So like think of it like you have your pantry, like you have your pantry in your kitchen right now. You have food in your pantry, right? So
Mhm.
hopefully, I hope you do. Like if you don't, we should be having a different conversation. But so you got your food in your pantry right now. You're going to end up buying food probably throughout the week to make some things, but you're probably going to use some stuff in your pantry that you don't need to buy. Like you don't need to buy salt. You already bought your salt. You don't need to buy, I don't know, potatoes. You already have potatoes, whatever. You have your beginning inventory, how much is in your pantry. Your purchases is everything you spent, money out the door. How much did you give the grocery store basically? Or, large scale restaurant, how much did you spend at Gordon Foods or things like that? Cisco. And then your ending inventory is how much is left in your pantry at the end of the week when you're looking at it. Because all that food that's still there, you're going to still use. So you can't factor that into your total food cost because you haven't used it yet.
Mhm.
So, and if you have not done inventory yet, I actually challenge you, go look in your house and just try to come up with it because it is a lot harder than you give anyone credit for. Like going through each thing in your pantry and knowing where you're at and knowing what you start with is insane to try to do from scratch, which is why it's so important to keep track of your purchases, keep track of how much you have, keep track of how much you've sold, keeping track of, all of that, just so it makes your life easier and you can have your costs under control. Because I can't even imagine.
I can't even keep track of myself.
I know. I'm like, I can't even imagine trying to figure out what I have in my kitchen.
Right, me too. And the pantry.
Right. Like maybe it might be a good idea to take inventory next time before I go to the store. I don't buy the same thing again. But that's essentially it, just on a large scale for a restaurant. That's why you want to figure this out. Did that help answer your question? TB. I don't know your name, but you're TB on Zoom.
Yes, Chef, you did. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So those are really everything you got this week. Let's try this practice one and we'll dive into some practice problems together. So you're starting your week with $3,524 of food. During the week, you buy $7,251 of food. At the end of the week, we have $3,850. Again, your starting inventory, your purchases, your ending inventory, sales for the week were $15,278. So you need to figure out your total food cost first. So that is that beginning inventory, 3,524, plus how much we bought, 7,251. And then we subtract our ending inventory, 3,000, fat fingers, 850. And we're left with 6,925. That is our total food cost. So now once you find that, you divide it by your total sales, which would be 15,278. We get this very, very, very long number. You multiply it by 100, and we're left with 45%.
Okay, Chef, got a question.
What's up, Erica?
So we added our beginning inventory, 3,524, plus our food, which is $7,251. So we don't add the 3,850 to this.
You subtract.
So I subtract after I do the 7,250. Don't even add. Don't worry about the other one. Don't
You
worry
would-
about.
Right. So you would add these two together, which
Uh-huh.
basically gets you how much you start with, how much you bought. So now this is how much total we got. And then you subtract what you have left. Because this
Right.
ending inventory is still in your pantry. You're still going to use it next week. So you can't factor that in as part of your food costs because you're still going to use it later on. Did that help a little bit?
Yeah, I'm adding up the beginning and the 7,251.
Right. And then that number you would subtract from the
And I was subtract
3,008.
from which number?
This number total. So when you add your beginning inventory, your 3,524 plus your 7,251, you get 10,775. This is the number you are subtracting your ending inventory from.
Hello?
Yep, we're here.
Oh, now I can hear it went out. I couldn't hear nothing. So I added the 3,524 with the 7,251. I added those two together.
Mm-hmm.
So my answer was 10,077. Same thing you got. So now we're going to subtract our ending balance, which is
Yep.
3,850.
Correct. That's exactly right. And that gets you your total food cost. Now to get your total food cost percentage, you would take this number and you divide it by your sales or your total sales for the week.
Divided by 15,200 and okay.
Yep.
2, 7. I got something to tell you. I got my first beginning numbers are correct, Chef, but when they get to all the way to the end, my numbers are not right. I got 045. Okay, so I got 0453266. 1
Yep,
3. Okay.
That's exactly what we got. And then you would multiply this by
Times
100 or moving your decimal 2 spots over to get it into a percentage. And that gets us 45%.
Yep, that's what I got.
Perfect. Yeah, you're spot on. So basically what this is telling us is that we spent 45% of the money we made that week on food, which is no bueno. That's terrible. That's bad for cost percentage. You're going to not make much money if that's the case. More than likely. unless you're
bad-
paying minimum
okay.
wage. That's a whole different ballgame. Let's jump into some practice problems and kind of work through these together. I don't know why I'm on question 4, but let's jump to question 1. So again, some of this stuff, and I swear I sound so repetitive, but you know, it's okay. All this stuff that you guys are working on, especially this week, it's very wordy. Like looking at this problem, this is a lot of information. Like you got a lot going on here. I personally like to skip all the info. Go straight to your question, read your question first, go back to everything they gave you. Because then you can kind of pick and choose what you need out of there. Because not every question is going to need all the information. Now, granted, this one we got 4 questions. So we're going to read the question and then go back and kind of pick and choose what info we need. Because this is a lot. This is like, I mean, an easier, in my opinion, it's easier to break down a word problem when you know what you're looking for in it than just trying to comprehend all these words and all the pricing. So our first question, skipping the whole question, how much did Chef Ty spend on food over the course of the week? So this is asking us, how much was his purchases? So basically you need to go into our problem now, find out everything he spent, add them up. That's all this is asking you. How much did he spend on food for the week? So going back to the top, Chef Ty's beginning inventory on Thursday finds he has 4,800. Okay, he didn't spend that. He already had it. That was the start. Throughout the week, he purchases red flag. That's the information you need to know. So all these, your produce, your meat, your dry goods, your dairy, you are going to add those up. And that would get
Okay,
you.
so I got $7,744.
Let's find out if you're right. So we got 1,135
I got that
plus
too, Jeff.
1,276. Is that what you got too, Erica?
Yep, 7744.
Perfect. That's exactly it. Nice job. I hope everyone else is getting that. Nice job, Jermaine. So again, I think it's the easiest, especially because there's so much information in here. Read the question, go back. So our second one, what is his total food cost? So you know your total food cost is your beginning inventory plus your purchases minus your ending inventory. So you just found out what our beginning or what our purchases were, which was 7,744. So you would take that number. That's how much was spent. You would add that with your beginning inventory. So your 4,800. And we get 12,544.
Yes.
And then you subtract from that his ending inventory, which right at the bottom, the following Thursday, his ending inventory he finds is 3,477.
Okay, so I got 9,067.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Joy.
That's what I got too.
Okay, cool. Cool.
Nice job. 9,067. Perfect. So going to the next question. What
sorry.
is,
You lost me. You lost me.
okay, let's go through it again. So for his total food cost, this is asking you to take that beginning inventory. So back up to the problem, which his beginning inventory on Thursday he finds was 4,800. So you take your 4,800 and you add in everything you spent throughout the week on food, which we just found out, on our last problem was 7,744. So you add that in. And we are left with 12,544. And then you would subtract your ending inventory because that ending inventory you still have in your pantry to use the next week. So you can't factor that in as your total food cost because it's still food you have. So you would subtract your ending inventory, which the following Thursday, he does ending inventory and finds he has 3,477 left. So you subtract that. And you end up with 9,067. And that is the total food cost, or how much he spent on food throughout the week.
It was some more to that problem, Chef. I thought we were done at 12 when we did the 12. So we subtracted the 4,000.
No, you did it right, Erica. I was just going over it again
Oh,
for
okay.
someone else. No worries. Did that make more sense, TB?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. We want to make sure you guys are all on the same page before I keep going on. So please stop me if I'm not making sense. So now that you have that answer, the total food cost, you're 9,067. The next question is asking you, what is the total food cost percentage? So what was the total food cost percent of your sales throughout the week? So you take that 9,067 that we just found, and you would divide it by the sales. So again, back to our practice problem. His sales for the week, he finds he made 49,567 over that period. So you would take your 9,067 and you divide it by your 49,567. You get a decimal, you multiply by 100 or move that decimal 2 spaces over,
8%.
and you get 18%. It's not bad at all.
No, I got something else, Chef. Hold on.
Hold on, how did I make a mistake there? Because I got 12,000. I need to redo my numbers.
I'm gonna pick
Lord have mercy on my soul.
I'm gonna pick it up from the 9,067. That's what then I'll go from there. 9,067.
Yep, so 9,067 divided by total sales for the week, which was 49,567, this number here.
Okay.
And that should get you a decimal of 0.182924.
Divide by the 49,000. Okay. 49. What do you get 46 from computer? Stupid. Divided by 4,9.
I was gonna say, is that your computer?
Chef, I'm still getting 12,543. What am I doing wrong here? Because I got the right number.
Let's walk through it again together. So you got your
Please.
9,067, so 9,067. And then you divide it by your 49,567.
Yes. Okay. Got it.
Good.
Correct.
Awesome.
Thank
And
you.
then
Thank
again, yeah, we multiply it by 100, you move it 2 spots over.
So now we got to
you.
multiply.
Yep, because we're getting a percentage. So it gives you a decimal. You want to get that decimal to a percentage. Yep, exactly.
You know what, Chef? I gotta tell you, this moving to decimal sometimes can be so confusing. But now that you said multiply it by 100, it makes so much sense. It's more clearer for me.
I like the multiply by 100 personally, but I think it's because my brain's like so math oriented, and we're already in a calculator. Like we're already there and have that number up. So just multiplying it by 100 works best for me as well. But some people like the moving it 2 spots over, and those people keep doing that.
Right, I can do that too, but for me, I think it's more because I can actually, for me, I know exactly that it's 45% or 18%, multiplying it by 100.
Yeah,
And
do that then.
you learn something new every day.
That's half the battle though, is just kind of finding tricks and things in your own head that work for you and just doing whatever that is, because whatever makes sense. Everyone learns differently, and that's
correct.
Half the battle. So the last question with the realm of questions, and this one I'm going to tell you all, this is your easiest question. I promise you, there is no math involved. Read the question, breaking it down. What is his beginning inventory for the following week?
The same thing he started with.
The
No,
3,477.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, the same thing he ended with.
Yeah.
Not the same thing he began with. Okay, I'm like, don't say the beginning one. It's his ending inventory. So whatever you ended with that past week is what you're starting with over the next week. So again, breaking it down, thinking about it in context. So it'd be the 3,477. That is the easiest problem I personally think on your test. There's no math. You literally just have to read that question and you'll get it right. So breaking them down, making sure you know what the question's asking you before you answer it is huge. I swear I think I'm so repetitive in that I tell you every week, but break it down, read what this is asking. These are all questions you guys have done. I mean, the inventory, not so much, but your food cost percentage, your food cost divided by your sales is the exact same thing you guys did in week 3 when we, oops, wrong one. That's what I want. In week 3, when we were working on your food cost divided by your total sales for your steak or your salad, it's the same exact equation. Just now it's the larger numbers. Just to bring it back to full term. You're learning the same principles, just more numbers, really. But let's do a couple more problems. We got some time, and I started today. There's not tons out there. There are some Quizlets. It's called Costing Week 5 in Realms for this. So if we don't get to this, there are some example problems you guys can work on your own that are up on our tutor page. Just so you know that if you want some extra kind of breaking down help. So let's do this first, the second problem. Question 2. Again, we got all this junk, all this information, skipping that. First question, how much did Chef Sophia spend on food over the course of the week? Okay, so this is her purchases. What is the sum of everything she bought? Going back to our problem, we got Chef Sophia does beginning inventory on Thursday, finds she has 4,526 in food. Throughout the week, she purchases all these lovely things. I'm not going to tell you the answer. I'm going to wait till you guys either tell me or throw it in the chat. I'm going to secretly be doing it on my calculator that you guys can't see.
Okay, so I have 8,428.
Let's find out.
I got 8,437.
That's what I got too.
Okay, mine.
Oh, yeah, I think you're not doing great with the numbers in the calculator.
You know why? Because I'm using my phone. I'm fat fingering my phone.
I'm really bad with the one on the computer that like I show you guys. The amount of times I press the wrong button is obscene. So again, human error is real. Double check your math every time, because gosh, that is probably the worst thing is like you guys are doing the right math, you have the right equation, you understand what the question's asking, and then you accidentally just press like a 3 instead of a 2 in your calculator. So double check your math. It's not a bad thing to do it a couple times just to make sure you get that same answer every time before you put it in your actual quiz.
I got 9,421.
Okay, well that
I added all the food. I added her beginning. I added all the food, and then I subtracted the ending.
Erica, I'm
Yes.
gonna just point this out to you. Read the question. You answered the wrong question. You're not doing it wrong. You answered what her total food cost was. This first question's asking you, how much did you spend on food?
Okay.
Different question.
She spent 8,437.
Yeah, yep, Renee, that's exactly the right answer.
So the only thing we're adding is what you spent. We're not adding the beginning or the ending sales.
Not yet. That's the total food cost.
Okay. So
always break down that question and answer, because you're doing the right problem, you're doing the right math by all means, but you're answering the wrong question. So always make sure before you start plugging things in your calculator that you know what you're answering, because that is the easiest thing to screw up. And again, that just stinks because you're doing it right and your math's right. But so essentially when it asks how much she spent on food, you're just adding up the purchases. So if you add up all 4 of those.
I think I came up with what everybody else came up with, 8,437.
Perfect.
Yes.
Exactly. So moving on, Erica, you just did this one, so I hope no one was listening. What is her total food cost? Now that we know this is 8,437. Going up because you need to know that beginning inventory. So our total food cost, you know, she started with 4,526. You know, she spent 8,437 throughout the week. And then you also know her ending inventory on Thursday was 3,542. So with that information, what would her total food cost be for the week?
Chef, I got 9,421.
It sounds right. Let's check that math out. Is that what everyone else is coming up with?
No, I'm a little.
Yes, that's the number I got.
I'm a little turned around, but I'm trying to figure it out now, Chef.
Erica, this is what you were doing the first time. You got this number at the first problem.
Okay.
I'm like, you already did this one. This is your beginning inventory. Your 4,526. Adding in your total purchases, which we just figured out was 8,437. Taking that number, you would subtract that ending inventory minus 3,542. And we get 9,421. Nice job, I think.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got that one.
Nice job. All right, so same kind of going down. Next one. What is her total food cost as a percentage of, oh, that's worded weird, of sales? I don't know why that threw me off. Her total food cost percentage is what we're asking.
That's
So
what
you
I
take,
got.
so you take your total food costs, which we just found out was 9,421, and you would divide it by how much you sold in food or how much you charged your customers, which was 37,608.
I got 25%.
Perfect. That sounds right.
Yeah, me too.
25%.
Yep. And then you multiply it by 100, move it to, and we get 25%. Nice job, everyone.
Correct.
I like when everyone gets the same answer. Again, easiest question. What is her beginning inventory for the following week?
What she left off with from the week prior.
3,542.
Perfect. I swear, if somebody gets that wrong, you just didn't read the question. Seriously, though, there's
That's
a lot.
like a gimme. It's like
Yeah.
a bonus point.
Right, though. There's so many, not each week, but I feel like every week you have one problem on that test that it's like, there's no math involved. Just read what it's asking and then answer.
That's what
Yeah,
I,
week 4 was the same. There was one, yeah.
Like that has nothing to do with math, but they give you all these numbers and this word problem. So you automatically pick up your calculator because you're like, yeah, I know. And then they fool you. So always be prepared for that.
that helps a lot. That's what I started doing. I took your advice. I went straight down, read the question first, and the first question or whatever, and then I go back up to the problem, and that helps.
Right. Well, it's just, I personally, and it might just be the way my brain works, but I think like word problems and math, like they give you so much information and not every problem you need it all. So go back, pick and choose what it's asking you, and you can usually, figure it out easier than trying to comprehend all that information at once. Definitely. So let's do another one together because we have some time still. I feel like you guys are getting the hang of it though, so that's fantastic. So Chef Olive why are we reading this? Let's jump to the first question. How much did Chef Olive spend on food over the course of the week? Going back to our problem. She has the
I got
beginning inventory.
6,000.
Yeah, Joy, what'd you end up with?
I don't know if I'm right, but I started with 6,203.
We'll give it another minute, let everyone kind of get their math together. I know somebody was telling me that earlier today. They're like, everyone answers so fast in the workshop.
600,
So
6,203, I found. So
that's good. That sounds like everyone's getting the same thing. Nice job, Renee.
I got 7,029. I got 7,2956. Doesn't sound right.
Let's do it together. Now that we got numerous answers, you got your 1,124 on produce, your 1,005 on meat,
Okay.
your 1,104 on dry goods, and your 2,970 on dairy. And we end up, nice job, Joy and Renee, you both got that right. We end up with our 6,203.
That's what I got now.
Perfect. So that's how much you spent on food. 6,203. So going down, next question, what is her total food cost? So this is where that whole inventory thing comes in. Again, I'll let you all do the problem before I start doing it for you. That's my hardest thing, is I always want to start doing the math.
So this is when we take the ending, the beginning of the beginning, and we add it to our sales.
Nope, sales aren't involved yet.
It says how much did she spend? How much did Chef Olive Oil spend on food over the course of one for the week from
We
Thursday?
already, yep, we already did that one. We're on the second one. What is her total food cost?
I can't see that. Okay.
The
What is her
second,
total food cost?
yep, but you just need the, now that beginning inventory, so I scrolled up.
3, 7, 5, 0.
Okay, Chef, I got 6,533.
Let's check that out. Should be right. Sounds right to me. So you take your 3,000, your 750, your beginning inventory. You add in everything you bought, which we just found out was 6,203. And then we subtract our ending inventory, which was 3,420. And is that what you just said, TB?
Yes, Chef.
What is your first name? I'm gonna keep calling you TB.
Travis.
It's Trenton?
Travis.
Travis. Okay, I'm writing that down. Travis, I'm like, you're not TB. Sounds like tuberculosis.
No,
Oh,
God, please.
Like, I don't know why that's the first thing that comes to mind. Or it could be Taco Bell. That sounds better. I'm hungry. Did everyone else come up with 5,000 or 6,533?
Yes.
Doing mine now, Chef.
Yes.
Perfect.
9, 7, 0 equals 9,950.
Minus your ending inventory.
I got
I
19%.
add I minus my inventory, minus the ending inventory now, correct?
Right. Yep.
3, 4, 2, 0 equals 6,000.
Did you end up with 6,533?
Yes, I did. I had y'all on mute. I'm sorry, Chef. Yes, that's what I ended up with.
Yes.
Everyone else getting that? Renee?
Yes, sir. I got same number.
Awesome. So
533.
perfect. So next question in the realm of questions, what is the total food cost as a percentage of your sales? Or what is your food cost percent, essentially? So now that you know your total food cost, your 6,533, You would take that and you would divide it by your sales.
Okay, chef.
Can't see the number, chef.
So we divided by, our sales is divided by
They-
35.69.
Yeah.
Yep, so you would take that 6,533 that we found out just now was your total sales, or your total food cost, excuse me.
I
And
got
you would,
8.
yeah,
Divide by
would you,
3,300 to 96.
35,296,
Right? And
multiply it by 100. Yeah, we get 18.5. I would say 18.5. I guess you would round up to 19 if they wanted a whole percent, but I would say 18.5 if I was doing it for my restaurant. Just because it's more accurate.
I got it. I got it.
Everyone get 18.5 or round in, get 19.
yes, I do.
Yes, chef.
Perfect. Nice job, everyone.
Yeah, I
So what
got
is-
that too.
Again, I'm gonna just if you get this wrong on the test, just think of me like smacking you because this one's the easiest one, people. I won't really smack you. I guess that's a good thing why you're online learning is I can't. No, just sounds bad. What is your beginning inventory for the following week? Scrolling up.
Last
need
week's
to see.
inventory, starting off with the beginning, the inventory for this week. So whatever you left off with, going into the next week, that's your beginning inventory.
That's exactly it. No math required. All right. How's everyone feeling on this?
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I'm
we got
okay.
a lot of right answers, so that's cool.
I'm okay.
I do have a question though, chef.
Yeah, what's up?
The last quiz I did, the answer, I think it was like this answer here, like this answer came out to be 18.5, and you know it gave you like a choice, because you know it had multiple choice, and when I chose the latter, like the rounded answer, it wasn't right. So I guess they're going for exact.
If it's multiple choice and they give you the exact versus the rounded, I would definitely go with the exact. Again, that's a lot of just breaking down what that question is asking. Sometimes it'll say round it to the nearest whole percent. Sometimes it doesn't say it all, and if it doesn't say it all, I would be exact. You know, maybe to the nearest tenth, because in all reality, if you're thinking about your costing and breaking it down in terms of real life, if you have 18% or 19% food cost, that makes a difference. That's a whole percentage off. And if it's that even to half, I mean, I think you're better off saying 18.5% as your food cost, because you wouldn't want to estimate higher or lower for your food cost percentage when you're trying to make money. Really anything involving money or culinary math, the more accurate you can be, the better.
Okay. chef.
Okay.
I hope that helps. Our watcher's gone. I don't know who they are.
I'm right here. You're talking about me.
No, not you. There was somebody in
Oh.
here like named Watch or Watched, and we think they're a person who's watching us, but I feel like it's so obvious when you're labeled as Watch that it can't be. I don't know. I put too much thought into it. Do we have any last minute questions? I mean, that's basically all we did today. That's all you're working on this week. Told you it would be easier than last week.
Remember, everybody, your formulas are at the top of your quiz this week, so that's helpful.
Use the formulas, read the question, go slow, break it down. Joy, double check your math before you submit it. Everyone should. But
I'm gonna use a calculator.
I'm like, everyone really should, but I do it all the time, like the fat fingers. So yeah, it doesn't hurt to throw that math in there more than once to make sure you got it all accurate. All right, well, if that is all we got, then I think we are good today.